Hello and welcome to this informative video about the brand new operating system for penetration testing cloud environments, PwnCloud OS. This is brought to you by PwnLabs, where we have multi-cloud red and blue team training labs, boot camps, as well as on-demand workshops. I will be taking you through this guide to PwnCloud OS. My name is Masood. I am the Security Solutions Engineer at PwnLabs, and I'm Red Team certified in Azure, AWS, as well as GCP. So before we delve in, let's show how easy it is to get PwnCloud. So if we go to PwnCloud OS, we'll simply choose between the two options, whether we are on Windows, which I am, so I'm going to download that, put it into my VMs directory. Oh, I already have it. Or ARM, which is for you if you have a MacBook or a Macintosh. And so once you do that, you simply choose your virtualization solution. Here I have VBox, File, Import Appliance. Simply find and choose the OVA file. Hitting next, you can modify the resources that you're going to use for it. Hitting finish will start importing it. Now, while that's importing, let's talk a little bit about the basics of PwnCloud. Here, we'll go through the FAQ real quick to get a brief understanding. Now, firstly, this operating system is completely free. We are designing this to be the cloud version of Kali. And I'll show you what I mean by that when I show you the tools. As for the tools that are not available on it, you can simply add them, which I'll also demonstrate. The platforms that are currently supported on PwnCloud OS are AWS and Azure, meaning there are many tools to attack those infrastructures. However, GCP tools are being developed currently, and they will be added as soon as they launch. In terms of support or providing feedback and contributing to the development of PwnCloud OS, you can find us directly on Discord, send us emails, or even speak to the developer directly on LinkedIn, which I'll share at the end of the video. So let's get into the operating system itself by entering the default password, PwnLabs, no caps. As you can see, the background and the overall aesthetics of this operating system was designed to keep your penetration tests as enjoyable as possible. So here we do have the essentials such as the ZSH terminal and the PowerShell terminal. But most importantly, this menu option brings us to the categories of tools that we have compiled here and listed for you. Firstly, in the AWS category, we have a range of enumeration tools, as well as brute forcing and attacking tools and frameworks such as Pacu. We also have Azure, which includes tools for both Bash and PowerShell, as I'll show you. And then we have normal things like browsers, code scanning, where you can find secrets and things like GitHub. And then we have the growing category of multi-cloud, something we're deeply passionate about leading in cloud security training. The most important thing about this set of tools and these categories is that because cloud penetration testing is not as developed of a field and researched as things like Active Directory, the tools that you'll find are scarce. Not only that, but you might come across compatibility issues trying to download things like these on Windows or Kali. Because of that, the easiest thing for you to do if you're moving from on-prem to cloud assessments and penetration testing or defense and analysis is to skip all of that and use PwnCloud OS off the bat. So what happens when we click one of these tools? For example, AAD internals is a very common tool in enumerating and finding attack paths in your Azure target infrastructure. Now, before we do so, I'd just like to point out that having these tools open with the correct environment, such as here in PowerShell, and then another one in, for example, AWS, we can go to AWS Enumerator, opening in Bash makes it extremely convenient for you to use the tool right away. Aside from that, when you click on any of these tools in the categories, you'll find a mini guide for you to show you the usage and explain to you each variation of the flags in the commands. So for AAD internals, to use it, we simply import the module, just like any other PowerShell library. And to demonstrate its usage, for example, if we get login information, I can use this as a brief enumeration technique to confirm that the infrastructure is being Entra managed. Now, if it was not, you would find some sort of federation in here. And since it's Entra managed, then we can then proceed to get the tenant ID in order to conduct further attacks and enumeration. Another tool that's installed that we can use in Bash is CloudFox. So if I want to use CloudFox, I can simply utilize my credentials that are already configured as so. And then I can go ahead and use the inventory command, which scans and sweeps for all resources in all regions of the target infrastructure. To keep a long story short, this will eventually output a table of the resources. Now, let's talk about when we have a tool in mind or we discover something and wish to add it and use it immediately. Now, I'll show you how to add something that is a favorite of mine, a multi-cloud enumeration tool called CloudEnum. So simply install it like so. CloudEnum with a -y. And as you can see, I already installed it. And why I love this tool so much and why I added it to my own personal PwnCloud OS is because all we have to do is insert keywords, like in this case, specifying mega big tech, the enormous environment for our Azure penetration and penetration testing and defense labs. And then specify, besides the keywords, specify to disable AWS and GCP since it's a Azure environment. And running that will begin populating this terminal with every single publicly accessible asset in the environment. Now, there are some DNS issues right now, but I'll show you in a bit how this gets populated with resources. So if you want to submit a feedback form, we have that available. If you want to talk in the moment whilst you're actively using PwnCloud OS, feel free to hop on to our Discord and speak to other people who are actively using PwnCloud OS. You can also speak to the developer directly through LinkedIn, and I'll share the links for each of these in the description below. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn or Discord or even in the comments below and tell me what you think about PwnCloud OS. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I wish you a happy multi-cloud hacking experience with PwnCloud OS. Thanks and have a great day.